another look at the TRD Fortuna grill. Hopefully this should help with a bit more airflow, especially when we're doing track work. I think it makes the car look really aggressive. Just pulled over after a spirited drive to take some photos and get some clips, and I could smell a bit of an oily smell. Joys of modified cars. We have a leak, I don't know if you can see it, we have a leak from our turbo oil return line AN fitting. So I'm glad I spotted that. Limped the car back home. We're only about 2 minutes away from home. Tighten it up and hopefully we are good to go. So limped the car home, and there was definitely a bit of smoke coming out of this region here. So really hard to see, but there's a lot of oil down there. So it's either coming out of the overflow or it's the oil feed that's slightly above it. So we will have a look, but there's definitely an oily mess down there. So now with the car up in the air, we can have a decent look. I thought it might be the turbo oil return line, but it turns out it's the turbo oil feed line. Things like this can work loose over time, especially after we've been to the track and we've had some hard driving. It always pays to look over your car and spanner check things. This has leaked some oil today. Luckily we haven't had any damage, but looks like we need to do some maintenance and check over a few other things while we're down here just to make sure the car's good to go. So now that I've checked everything over, it was actually the return line that was leaking from that red fitting to the blue fitting there. The feed line was tight and everything seems to be alright. This started up while it was here. I couldn't see any visible leaking. So now I'll give everything a really good clean up, check over a few other things while I'm down here, and just keep an eye on it the next time I drive it. So it turns out I haven't fixed the oil leak. It turns out it was the oil feed line. It was really close to the turbo manifold, and I can't see an obvious hole, but it does look pretty melted in the areas. So I am going to get this remade and extend it 150 mils longer, just so we're away from any heat source, and hopefully we should be good to go. With everything checked over now, I think we're good to go. The oil return line was slightly loose, so we've tightened that. Oil feed line was actually really tight. I've cleaned up the area so we can keep an eye out for visible leaks. The last thing you want is oil going on the turbo manifold and catching on fire. But we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll check it periodically to make sure we're good. If you like this content, don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we'll keep the content rolling on the JZX110 Mark II.